Hello, Talking Fight fans around the world. Thank you once again for joining us, me, Bola, for another evening of education and entertainment on the scoop. What do you have lined up for us tonight, champ?
Well, I'm here to talk about, well, the Klitschko brothers dominated the heavyweight scene for actually over a decade. And what amazing representatives of what hard work and talent will get you. Some found them detrimental to the sport because it was difficult for those individuals to get excited about upcoming fights with these two juggernauts just cleaning house regularly. I didn't see it that way. If anything, I saw it as these guys had a certain skill set and they were able to apply that skill set, that style, against a litany of different styles, and for the most part, always came up successful. I think there's a lot to be said for that, to say the least. But with their exodus from the scene, it opened up an opportunities for other heavyweights to come in and try their hands at being champions. Um, this is exciting in a completely different way. There are some definite contenders for the strap and the division supremacy. Now, today I'm talking about a little engine I could, even though there's nothing little about him. This fighter, a fighter that is the epitome of never judging a book by its cover, who won the heavyweight title due to the greatest upset since Tyson Douglas, maybe even surpassing that one. Her name is Bola Raymond Olubuwole, and this is the scoop. Born September 11th, 1989, in Imperial, California, was none other than Andreas Ponce Ruiz Jr. He goes by Andy Ruiz. His parents were immigrants from Mexico who made a decent life for themselves in the U.S. Via his father, came over as a construction laborer, opened up his own business, and then ended up start flipping homes. Young Andy had a passion for the sport of baseball until his dad steered him in the way of boxing. Apparently, Andy had his first amateur fight in 1996 at the age of 7 in San Diego, even though he was training out of Mexicali, Mexico. Now, all it took was looking it up on the map to see exactly where all these places were, and then I realized that they're all in really close proximity to each other, hence why it makes sense. Mexicali is like almost on the Mexico-U.S. border, and so is Imperial, California. Is just north of the border, less than an hour's drive away. So, yeah, it was nothing shy of amazing, but explains. He actually goes on to explain how he got the nickname Destroyer, which in essence, well, as apparently history has it, that when he was young, he used to destroy things. And it just so happens that it was a great little nickname for a man in combat arts. Andy had an impressive amateur career, where he finished his career with a record of 105 wins and 5 losses. Yeah. Looking at his resume from the international competitions in the last 2 years of his amateur career, where he fought not just internationally, but as a senior. He went undefeated as a junior and intermediate fighter, because all 5 of his losses were in the last 2 years, and they were at the international competition level. That's actually rather impressive, which means that for the first 11 years that he was fighting, he didn't lose. 11 years. I think that surpasses the Klitschko's. Granted, he's fighting children, and he's a child himself, but still impressive. March 28th, 2009, Andy makes his professional debut at the age of 19. And for the most part, never looked back. He was brought up properly, fed a healthy diet of journeyman and tomato cans, which padded his record nicely and moved him up in the ranks too. Now, Andy's undefeated streak continued right until December 10th, 2016, when he faces off against an incredible close contest where he faces off against an also undefeated Kiwi in Joseph Parker from New Zealand in his backyard. Now, it was an incredibly close contest, and with Andy starting out strong and aggressive, but fading during the middle rounds, and then came back to life and pretty much won the championship rounds. Losing a majority decision with the scores 114 to 114, 115 to 113 twice. To call these two evenly matched was painfully obvious. Andy threw 416 punches and landed 107 in accordance to CompuBox, while Joseph threw 560 punches and landed 119. Again, well, Joseph clearly threw more and landed more, and that's the only reason why I think that he probably deserved the nod, but it was that close. Andy's next big test came from a friend of mine in Alexander Dimitrenko from Hamburg, Germany. Trenko was on the world scene for some time now, but his glory days were behind him. Standing at 6'7" and weighing approximately 260, 250 pounds, somewhere like that. He was a formidable opponent. Andy had just signed on with legendary manager Al Heyman to become part of the stable known as the Premier Boxing Champions, PBC. So huge things were on the horizon for Andy, and this was one of them. When I watched this fight, I was rooting for my actual friend and hoping that he would come out with his A game. It wasn't meant to be. Andy stopped him in the 5th round. Using his quick hands and big power punch combinations, Andy just weathered him down. Dimitrenko, I don't know what his game plan was. This speaks volumes to me, because seeing how the boys with all the belts are all pretty much Dimitrenko's size right now, it shows. It shows that he can handle the big boys. He's only 6'2". Only 6'2". I know you cricket people will find that huge, but for gorillas like myself, that's a little man. And yet, Dimitrenko meant to me that Andy isn't afraid of the size. This destruction of Dimitrenko, that is. He's not afraid of the size and had a strategy to actually get by the reach, which is one of the biggest challenges that I find most fighters have. Even the big boys, when they go up against an even bigger boy, for whatever reason, that's the challenge. Now, size isn't everything. It's just a variable. But Andy has an answer to that. He's in contention for this title, and any day, any which way, these guys have an off night, with which with Anthony Joshua has already proven, he's right there. He could be right there to take over the title. Prior to the Dimitrenko fight, Andy's name was put into the proverbial hat as a replacement for Gerald Big Baby, I call him Fat Bastard, and Anthony Joshua. When the New York State Athletic Commission not just denied Miller, but suspended him permanently for being caught for the third time using performance-enhancing drugs, an opportunity opened up for potentially Andrew Ruiz. Now, the opponent of choice at the time was Luis Ortiz, but he turned it down, not once but twice, and the money that was being offered was arguably the most that he has made. That would have been more than he has ever made in his career. Yeah, he turned it down twice. So with 1 month till dance time, it was announced that Andy was Anthony's next dance partner. Now, June 1st, 2019, the dance begins pretty much as expected. Anthony controlled the action with decent combinations, but wasn't using his reach advantage to my liking, at least. Third round comes and sees Andy hit the deck for the first time in his professional career. Now, he makes the count, and Anthony does what Anthony does, and throws caution to the wind and tries to finish him. He seemingly was a wounded opponent, only to get dropped in the same round by this wounded opponent. Unlike Andy, Anthony was seriously hurt. Now, Andy was soft and doughy, but that was where the stereotype ended. He was hungry, and it was feeding time. The subsequent rounds were of Anthony attempting to survive and clear his head, while Andy was having no part of it and continued to batter Anthony around like a piñata. The fight ended in the 7th round with Andy Ruiz Jr. being crowned the new WBA Super Champion, IBF, WBO, and IBO World Heavyweight Champion. This is the first time a Mexican was crowned such, as a heavyweight, that is. This was arguably the greatest upset in boxing history. Now, December 7th of the same year, saw the rematch of this fight. Andy disappointed many people, including himself, with how he returned to the ring for the rematch. He weighed 268 pounds the first time, and he was soft and doughy and whatnot, but he got the job done. Only to come back in their second encounter 15 pounds heavier. Anthony did more than enough to win the contest via virtually just running for his life. Anthony fought respectful of Andy's power, or Anthony fought respectful of Andy's power and hand speed, but most importantly, he fought scared and smart. Andy is now working to get himself in better shape than he was when he won the title the first time. And truth be told, he actually is looking really great from the videos and pictures I've seen. I wish him the best of luck, but I don't think he really would need it as long as he puts in the work. He's done it before. There's no reason why he couldn't be champion again. There was talks of who does he go up against now, and I would love to see him versus Deontay Wilder. I think that's a contest that Deontay is just a bad show for him. He has a boxing IQ to avoid that one punch that's cremated 42 fighters. And with Tyson Fury going off and showing the blueprint of how to beat Deontay, I think it'd be interesting to see, especially with this newfound level of training and fitness level and whatnot. It'd be interesting to see exactly how that contest would play out. I don't think that he would be overly successful with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's boxing IQ was decent, actually very decent. And he would find a way to actually maul him and stay away from him. The only thing is, Ruiz, once he got inside with those fast hands, and it'd be interesting. But I think that Tyson would be victorious in that scenario. Like they say, styles makes fights. Well, I'll be looking forward to those two contests. And with that is my show. So if you like this episode, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget the notification bell. It's your boy Bola, and that's the scoop.
Thank you. I forgot to take off my mute button. Thank you very much, Ray. Appreciate that. You know, when I first saw Ruiz step into the ring the second time, Butterbean came to mind. He was still powerful, but boy, he was a tad overweight. But the transformation since that time to what he is right now, I think he's lost close to 40 pounds. He's trim. He's fighting fit right now, so he is going to be dangerous. I think he has a fight coming up in May. Yes. I forget the chap who. Yeah, I forget the chap who's going against.
Fighting. Chris Arreola.
Yeah, Chris Arreola. So that should be a dandy fight. But the transformation though from fight 2 to where he is right now is amazing. So I wish him well. But that when he stepped in that ring the second time against Joshua, he thought Butterbean.
Yeah.
It's too bad. But
story has it that after he won the title, everyone would expect you to celebrate. Go off and celebrate, enjoy the fact that you have, but know that you have a rematch clause and you want to keep it. This is apparently it's one thing to win a title, it's another thing to keep it.
Right.
Actually, some see it as even more difficult to keep your title because everyone's gunning for you and everyone's going to come in 100%, much like you did getting the title. So he apparently, like I said, the fight was in June. The story has it that his camp wanted him to get back into the gym for mid-July, and he didn't get back in the gym until September. And no one could tell him anything. He was a world champion. Nobody could tell him anything. And, he lost it. But So weird.
It's funny you mentioned that, because you did mention that specific point the other day with respect to trainers and coaches. Like, how could they possibly have that within them to be able to transform a fighter who is a world champion if he has lost, or if he's looking to hold that title still? How do they have it within them? Like, who are they to tell this world champion? So maybe Ruiz is a good example of someone who actually has listened but didn't listen at first and had to be taught a lesson, and is now willing to listen because he has it. He has it within him to be a champion, obviously. But can he do it again? He's got a bit of a road ahead, I think.
He does, but not because of his physicality as much as because of the politics of the game. Now
Correct.
He's known as being dangerous, and everyone's going to be afraid of him. They're going to be whereas they would have just easily accepted him as an opponent. Now they're going to do it cautiously. Do we really want this fight? It's a tough fight. We saw what he did to Anthony Joshua. I don't know. I think he destroys Deontay, but I think that Fury actually deals with him. So
right. Well, thanks very much, Ray. Appreciate that. And for all you Talkin fans out there, if you're boxers, make sure you go to our talkinfight.com website and have a look at our brand new section. I think it's called My Profile. Go to my profile, upload your profile, up your video clips, upload your pictures, because we want to see who you are, how you fight, how you train, and possibly invite you on the show and let's have a chat with you. All right. So thanks very much again, Ray, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Cheers.